Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. This week I have two brand new pedals from Boss for us to check out. The FB-2 feedbacker booster and the BC-2 combo drive. Let's dive right in and hear what these pedals sound like. I'll be playing an Epiphone 61 SG limited guitar through a Fender Deluxe amplifier. Here's what it sounds like clean with no pedals in the signal path. Just a straight ahead Fender sound with P90 pickups. Let's start with the BC-2 combo drive pedal. Now this pedal is from the same series as the ST2 Power Stack that we demoed a few months ago in the Sweetwater Minute, but this one's set up to emulate a British combo amplifier with a real chimey, compressed kind of a tone. It can go from real clean to real saturated and has some very recognizable sounds in it. We'll begin with it set up to a fairly clean sound, more like you'd hear in an early 60s kind of a pop setting. So here's the clean sound of the guitar through the amp again. And here's with the pedal engaged. You can hear it's a bigger sound, a lot of bottom end, has a lot of twang on the top end of it, a lot of chime. It's a nice open kind of a sound. Sounds real nice. Now let's turn up the sound control, the character control a little bit to add a little bit of grit to the sound. You can hear the tone starts to break up, gets nice and fat, nice and round, fairly dark on the top end, just the way the real amp gets when you set it to that kind of light breakup kind of a setting. That's a great tone. Now let's turn up to where we're getting a good solid crunch sound out of this pedal. Again, emulating what it sounds like when you push that amp up to where the speakers are starting to break up a little bit. You're getting a little bit of power amp distortion out of it as well. That's a nice, thick, chewy distortion sound with a lot of clarity and a lot of chime on the top end. It's a very useful sound with a lot of presence that'll really cut through. Now we'll crank up the sound control for maximum overdrive, sustain, and saturation. You can hear there's a lot of compression in that sound, a lot of distortion, a lot of saturation, but it's a very smooth sound, reminiscent of a sound like Brian May would have used with Queen on some of his lead parts, or when he's tracking those overdub parts with a lot of guitars layered in to create a guitar choir effect. Let's move on to the FB-2 feedbacker booster pedal. Now this pedal has two functions. First of all, it's a clean boost that also allows you some kind of tonal coloration additions, and then it's a feedbacker pedal as well, and we'll get to the feedbacker functions in just a second. Let's start with the boost set for no tonal coloration. I basically got the tone control set flat. All I have is just a little bit of a volume boost to add some girth, some chunkiness to the clean sound of the amplifier. This is the amp with no pedal. Now with the boost engaged. It's a subtle boost, but it also rounds out the sound in a nice kind of a way. Now let's turn the boost up just a little bit. You can hear we're starting to drive the front end of the amplifier just a little bit. We're getting just a little bit of harmonic distortion in there around the notes, a little bit of extra presence, a little bit of punchiness. It's a nice sounding boost pedal. Now we can also tailor this boost to where it has a mid boost or more of a peaky kind of a sound to it. I'm going to turn up the sound control to show you what that sounds like. This is with a broader peak to it, so it's a rounder mid-range kind of a hump in the boost output. You can hear we're starting to overdrive those mid-range kind of frequencies. It's getting to be a little bit of a crunchier sound. Still not distorted, but it has some nice harmonic complexity to it. When we turn the sound control up, the mid-range control gets peakier, so you get a little tighter range of frequencies that you're actually boosting. we're actually starting to drive the amplifier into real distortion from the front end. We've got a range of frequencies in the mid-range that we're pumping up. It's pushing that front end input to where it's really starting to break up in a nice kind of a way. It adds a nice sustain and a nice roundness along with that presence. The most amazing function in this pedal is the feedbacker function. And the amazing thing about it is it works at pretty much any volume level. I've actually got the amp dial back to where it's at a very nice listening level, which you'd use in your bedroom, living room, certainly not at a gig level at all. And yet with this pedal, I can push the notes instantly into feedback. I've turned the boost function down, so we're basically getting the same level as the amplifier would have without the pedal. And I've flattened out the tonal response, so we're getting just a clean boost out of it. Actually, there's no boost. We're just getting a clean tonal signal through it. When I step on the pedal and hold it down, the guitar will instantly go into feedback. Let me show you what I mean. So you can hear when you step on the pedal, the guitar pretty much instantly goes into feedback. You can control the amount, it'll sustain forever, pops right into that upper harmonic if you want it to. It can also stay down in the lower harmonic depending on where you're playing at the guitar. If you're playing where you're playing on the neck, if you're playing a chord, if you're playing a single note, it functions differently. But a very useful pedal if you want to have that sustain, those feedback effects without having to be at a loud enough volume pedal where the guitar actually goes into feedback itself. It's a very useful pedal between the feedback function and all the different boost functions that it has. I'm Mitch Gallagher. I hope you've enjoyed this look at these two brand new Boss pedals. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.